Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lewis Sayers, and I make and I help others make software. And I might not have the fanciest equipment, I may not have the fanciest lighting setup or widescreen curved monitor behind me, but I actually know what I'm talking about. I've been programming for the last 20 years. I've been in the industry for the last 10. I've worked in around a dozen companies. And if you want to know who's real or who's fake when it comes to software, giving good software advice, I suggest to you just go and take a look at people's GitHubs, their GitLabs, their Bitbuckets. Go and see who has actually been creating software. You'll very quickly find out who is giving good advice and who is not. Okay, so what are we covering today? I wanted to talk about rejection. I know a lot of people out there are getting rejected, and you see all sorts of things coming out. I've been rejected 200 times and all this kind of stuff. So, what I wanted to say about that is there's a reason. If you're getting rejected from job applications, there's a reason for it, and there's a remedy and a solution for it. And that's what I'm going to cover in the video today. And I've got the most fanciest video setup ever. Oh, look at the animation. Okay, what I wanted to talk about is being rejected as a developer. It hurts, doesn't it? It really hurts to be rejected, but it is something that pretty much every developer is going to come across. Maybe not, there are the occasional people who are the straight A plus students, never got anything less than A plus. But most of us don't fit into that bucket. So what I'm going to talk about is why you keep getting rejected. And the first thing we need to point out is that if you're getting rejected dozens, 50 times, 100 times, 200 times, then you need to change something. You can't just keep on going. It's admirable, the persistence that people have. But it's also just a little bit crazy because if it's not working, you need to change. You need to change and adapt and figure out why it's not working. And I'm going to help you figure some of those things out today. So what we need to understand is why you are getting rejected. And if you're not quite in that situation yet, if you're just thinking, well, I'm going to be applying for jobs and I don't want to be rejected, this is going to help you as well. So the first thing we need to look at are the top mistakes that people make. And this is what I've seen coaching people. Something that I used to do in a couple of years ago was I was coaching people with getting their first jobs as a software engineer, specifically as a website developer, full stack, front end, back end, whatever it might be. So the first mistake that I've seen people make, and I'm no longer coaching people with this, so don't worry, I'm not going to try to sell you into anything. This is purely just to help people out there. So the first mistake is in your CV and resume. What I've seen a lot of people do is they have CVs that, number one, are full of spelling mistakes. They have grammar mistakes. And they do things like they don't capitalize acronyms, which it seems like a small thing, right? If you're writing .NET, like ASP.NET MVC, something like that, you should be capitalizing the letters that should be capitalized. If you're putting a company name, you should be writing the company name in the way that the company would write it, or the software that you use. You should be writing it exactly how their marketing material show the company name. Because sometimes a company will have a capital first letter, sometimes a company will spell all of the letters in uppercase. You should be spelling it exactly the same as the way that the company or technology spells it. And there are some other mistakes in your resume as well. So the other main one is including irrelevant details for the job position that you're going for. And something that some people do is they will create a CV and they'll go and post that CV to all of the companies out there. And basically what we'd call this is CV dumping. You're just dumping your CV into all of these different companies because you're so desperate to go and find a job. You're in the mindset that I just want a job, I'll take any job. And there is a danger that down the track you'll actually, because of the rejection that you've faced, you might end up thinking, well, maybe being a developer isn't for me. Maybe I should just get a job as a support engineer or like a call center worker, and I can work my way up. And I promise you that that is the exact wrong approach that you should be taking. If you're at that stage in your mindset, it means that your confidence has sunk so low that you're actually willing to sacrifice what you want, and you're rationalizing something that is not what you want in order to kind of get what you want, if that makes sense. But the problem with that thinking is that the industry doesn't work that way. If you start in a call center, then chances are that you're going to stay in that call center. It's just the way things work. So what you're better off doing is fixing the actual underlying issue and going for the thing that you want. I promise you that is the much better approach to take. So your CV resume, there are many mistakes that people make in those. Those are probably the top couple mistakes there. The second top mistake is that you don't have like a cover letter, or you don't have anything that indicates to the company why you are applying to that specific company. If you're applying to a company, then the people that are accepting your application, they want to see why you want to be working at that specific company. And you should have very specific reasons why it's in alignment with your value system, why it's in alignment with your goals that you've set for down the track for in the future, and why you think it's a good company for you to be working at, and also how you think you could deliver value for that company. And all of that information goes in the cover letter. And the third top mistake that people make is they simply lack confidence. Confidence is so valuable when you're applying for jobs, and it will come across when you say things like, I'm looking for a company that can help me improve my skills. I'm looking for a company that has other junior developers working in it, all that type of thing. Because what that is saying to the employer is that you lack confidence, that you're going to get into the company and you're going to be like, oh, can you hold my hand? I don't actually know what I'm doing. I'm not very confident. I'm going to keep coming to you with questions because I don't know anything. Okay, and that's, a company doesn't want to hire someone that they have to train. And well, yes, they do hire people they want to train, but they don't want someone that needs their hand held constantly. They want someone that is self-sufficient enough that they can actually go out and problem solve and come up with solutions to the problems. And that as a developer, as a software engineer, that is a huge part of your job, is actually problem solving. So lacking confidence. So how do we go and fix these mistakes? Let's have a look. So the first one, in your CV, we talked about spelling and grammar. The first thing that you should be doing with your CV after you create it is running a spell check, as simple as that may sound. And you will find a lot of the errors coming up that way. Obviously, it's not going to find things like how a company or technology should be capitalized, what the correct way of writing that is. It will also not always find grammar mistakes, or it might have suggestions which aren't quite right. So if English isn't your first language, you should 100% be going and getting a native English speaker to go and review your CV and do corrections. So put it in a Google Doc, go and send it out to some people, have them comment on it and tell you all the mistakes that you've made in there, or suggest ways of rewriting something to make it sound a bit better. And of course, we mentioned irrelevant experience. So a company wants you to have the experience it's looking for. And if you worked at McDonald's or you put newspapers in letterboxes, well, you should only be writing about aspects of that in a CV if it's relevant for the job. So you might use some of those things in a CV or a cover letter. So you might be talking about working in a team as an example. But if it's just completely irrelevant to what the company is looking for, you don't want to include that in your job. One of the things that you can do is called matching and mirroring. And this is basically a sales technique which builds rapport with someone. And when you look at a job application, you can look at the requirements and you want to be like the reflection of what a company is looking for. So if a company says we want ABC, you basically want to say I have ABC in your CV or in your cover letter. You want to make that clear that you are matching what they've asked for. And to do this effectively, you really need to get inside the mind of the employer, what they're looking for. And I would recommend customizing your CV for each and every job application that you make, because every job listing is going to be slightly different. So you want to make sure that you're always slightly adjusting it for the position, for the technologies that they use. You want to match and mirror so that it's like a lock and key. If they're the lock, you have the key that when you put it in, it fits perfectly, and all you need to do is just give it a turn and that job will open up for you. And lastly, of course, displaying confidence. So avoid labeling your ability. This is a huge thing that all the junior developers make, that the big mistake that they make is they label themselves. It's not your job to label your ability. It's the company's job to put you at a level that they think you're at. So avoid calling yourself a junior developer. Just call yourself a software engineer or a full stack developer or whatever generic term covers the skills that you've got. Because once you've got that job, or once you've made it through the application stage, the company will insert you at the level that they think is appropriate. And mostly like these labels, like it really just comes down to pay. And at the end of the day, because different companies have different criteria for what they consider you to be at which level you're at. You also, with displaying confidence, you want to look beyond just your technical skills. A lot of companies, they're not just looking for a person that can code things up all day, but they're looking for someone that can communicate, that is able to assist other members of the team, that is looking for someone that has internal drive, that is motivated, that has an attention to detail, all of those little things. So you want to think of all the non-technical aspects that you can bring to that employer, all the things that they're going to find valuable and that are going to help with making a better team. So think of those things and what you can provide to a company as well, and look to your past experience, whether it's technical or non-technical. As an example, you might have played a sport or been in a band or done some activity which involves other people. Those are some of the things that you can bring up in, say, a cover letter and show that you're more than just someone that has done a few tutorials on the internet and someone that can actually work as a team member. And lastly, with with interviews, you're going to need to learn the process. So you will be more confident if you know what the process is. So that's something that you're going to want to do as well, and that will help with your confidence when you go and apply for a job. I hope that really helped some people. If you would like to know more, leave me a comment below, subscribe to my channel, and I will be making more of these videos to help people and to help people get like the real inside scoop of what they need to be doing when it comes to getting their first software engineering job and avoiding a lot of the mistakes that people make. So I'll see you in the next one.